So today I'm joined by an amazing panel. So I'll start from my far left. We have Mr. Robinson Gitonga, who is the Sales and Marketing Director at Masterways Real Estate. So I'll give a more detailed introduction a bit later. And then we have Elizabeth Costabir, known as Lizzie, who is the Chief Growth Officer at BuyRentKenya, which is one of the leading marketplaces, the property marketplaces in the country. And then we have Feyi Makinde, who is the co-founder and CEO of Reeka, a property management solutions company within the residential development and short-term rental space. I hope I got everyone okay? Cool. So by a show of hands, when looking for a residential property, how many of us usually go to Google? Is Google your first stop? Okay, how many of us go to social media platforms? Let's say Instagram, TikTok? Okay. And how many of us just ask a friend or a family? All right. Yeah, so this is interesting. So over the last couple of years, we've seen a shift in how people search for property. So Google being the main search engine used to be primarily the main channel that people used to use. And then we moved to social media. And right now, if you go to Instagram or you go to TikTok, you'll find a lot of people selling property. So my first question will be to Robinson Gitonga, who, as I said earlier, is a sales and marketing manager at Masterways Real Estate, which is a real estate company offering solutions in property management, estate agency, and savings and credit. And they currently manage a portfolio of over 10,000 lettable units, and they are celebrating 30 years of operations this year. So that's really cool, Robinson. So my first question to you would be, so with so much property information now available online, let's say through AI chatbots, be it Perplexity, be it Claude, what still makes clients choose to work with a property consultant or advisor instead of navigating their process entirely on their own?
I mean, there's so much information online, so as a buyer, really, if you're a sharp buyer, you could bypass people like myself and go straight to the landlords and go straight to the sellers. But the issue now is, with so much information online, it's very easy for a buyer to make a mistake. So you'll find a scenario, for example, I'll give you two areas. One of them is off-plan. We sell a lot of off-plan apartments in Nairobi, and you are spoiled for choice right now. You have hundreds of developments. But you have to be careful, because as much as you're bombarded with all the information online, you don't know whether you're making the right decision, especially for foreign buyers, because you could buy in the wrong location, you could buy from a developer who will just not deliver, you could buy from a developer who will give you terrible finishes, you could buy into a plot or in a facing of a development where a new development will come up right next to you, devaluing your investment. So in this case, it's very good to work with a trusted real estate advisor, professional registered agent, because they know these developers, they know who's about it, they know who's faking it, they know who'll deliver. So we're able to filter out all this noise and help you make the right decision. On the other side, if I look at the high-end markets, when we are selling villas in locations like Kuria, like Loresho, we deal with property owners who do not want their properties online. They'll come to me, Robbie, and say, I would want to sell this property very quietly, off market. Can you find me a buyer? So if you're a buyer and you're online on the platforms and using AI and you go by the options you're given, you're kind of limited. You're actually missing out probably on a better deal or a better property. So it's much better for you to work with a trusted advisor who knows the area, who knows the owners, who's been there, done that. They can be able to give you access to opportunities that you'll not find online. So the trusted advisor is coming out very strongly despite all this AI and such platforms.
I think it's important to note that with AI, especially generative AI, what they actually do is just give you information that they already find online. So then that's why you find all chatbots have a disclaimer that we could actually get a few things wrong, because generative AI doesn't actually come up with its own information. It synthesizes different data sets. So especially when purchasing a property, it's very, very important to work with trusted real estate consultants, who we have amazing guys over here. So I'll quickly move to Lizzie. So what are some of the biggest shifts that you've seen in user expectations over the last few years when it comes to online property search and discovery being one of the leading marketplaces in the country?
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for the question. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, industry colleagues. A quick question. Please indulge me. How many of you have heard of BuyRentKenya? Oh, fantastic. Well done to marketing. So for those of you who have not heard of BuyRentKenya, we basically are a Proptech platform that connects buyers and sellers who interact with real estate agents, developers, and landlords online, and they transact accordingly. To answer your question about the expectations when it comes to online property search and discovery experiences. So today what we're seeing, there's several shifts, and I'll just go through about 3 or 4 of them. So one of the biggest things that we're seeing is that people now look for property with intent. It's no longer searching and browsing and scrolling hundreds of listings, and they're looking for platforms that are much more intelligent, that can help them with trust and give you that personalized experience. So to give you a quick analogy, before we would search using SEO and Google, your search engine optimization, and it would be based on keyword and search filters. So I'm typing in 3-bed apartment in Kileleshwa or Lavington or wherever you want to put your location for X amount of shillings, whether it's 50,000 shillings, and you'd get an array of listings that would come up. But today, flip the coin, I want platforms to be able to interpret my intention of what I'm looking for. So I want them to understand my need accurately, more personalized, with speed, great UX experience, and my experience to be seamless. So now I'll be typing in a search that will be more conversational based on my intention. I am looking for a family, pet-friendly neighborhood that's low traffic, low traffic, and backup generator, et cetera, et cetera. So that is now, in addition to your SEO and Google, it's what we're calling generative search experience. And this changes everything for Proptech platforms, including BuyRentKenya. And we're moving from being a listings directory, so to speak, but to be more part of that decision-making within the ecosystem and to provide that support. The other shift that we also see is all about trust and transparency. In the topic next door, they were talking about pricing and what kind of transparency. I think everyone is fed up when you come to suspicious listings, duplicated listings, or outdated listings. There's also, what about availability of those listings, right? With the rise of AI, you're finding that we're able to remove this duplication and have more structured data, right? And this then brings integrity to platforms like BRK when we root out, and gives opportunity for us to improve so that people can have verified listings, they get to see the pricing, comparative pricing. They also get to see high quality imagery, walk-in videos, short form videos, which is quite the in thing and growing. People also want instant messaging, so I see WhatsApp as the next converter for Africa, it's no longer just about emails where, I'm tired about filling forms. I don't want to give in so much data. So yes, the phone is there, but it's now everything is from the touch of a button from your mobile device. So we're looking at platforms that are built on a mobile-first approach. And the data tells us that 97%, you just said it, or when you ask the audience, how do you look for property online? And 97% of users start their property journey online, of which 70% use a mobile device for that. And you see it with the younger audiences, especially the Gen Zs and the millennials who are really driving this AI technology change.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lizzie. So we'll move to Feyi. So I'd say your company is more like a tech platform. So how have you used AI to improve your operations? And what are some of the things that AI and tech have enabled you to more or less make easy? And what are some of those things that you're finding it difficult to digitize?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Ian, and the rest of the panel. For Reeka, what we do is we build technology to help with property management. And that means we both work directly with property and facility managers, and we also manage properties ourselves. So we kind of, eat our own dog food, so to speak. Now, in terms of AI, we are an AI-first company, and what that means is all of our knowledge is kind of coming into a single system to help inform decisions. I actually loved what Lizzie touched on around communication, WhatsApp, as well as social media. All of those trends are really driving how real estate is experienced, rented, purchased across the continent. And we're actually leapfrogging other parts of the world because we have a very young, digitally native population. So some of the things that we're doing to answer your question directly is actually around WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp bot that is powered by AI to interact directly with residents of the properties that we manage. That's super essential because that's where people already are. They can download our app, they can interact with Reeka and their facility management through that, but they also have the opportunity to leverage a WhatsApp bot powered by AI. Now, that doesn't take out the human interaction. Someone has to still come, fix the property, or handle an incident if there is one, but having that communication builds trust with the residents, and that's super important to ensure value for the people who own the property and the people who are staying there. I also wanted to touch just a bit on social media. I think that's also become quite important part of how people discover properties, how people interact with their properties. And so being able to be present on social media, leveraging AI to create content is something that we're really excited about, and I think is quite interesting. Short form videos is very essential, and I think even, Robbie, I'm sure you guys have also started spending a lot of time with social media. So I think the combination of learning how to be present where residents, buyers, renters already are, and leveraging technology and AI to do that, that's really the core of how we're thinking about it at Reeka.
Okay. Now that you've talked about social media, I want to go to Robinson, who, by the way, is also an influencer on Instagram, so you can check him out. He does a lot of cool content, cool real estate content on Instagram. So, Robinson, talk to us about how social media has changed the property search journey and how you're using it to get all these clients that you're getting.
Thank you, Ian. It's changed it completely, and I'm always telling my agents in the office that your Instagram is your shop front. It's literally your sales gallery. And right now, even people in the room here, I'm sure you follow a lot of real estate pages online. You find yourself browsing, looking at the reels they're posting. So it's created massive impact because all the attention is on the phone, and we get a lot of leads through this now. In fact, when we started doing social and content maybe about 6 years ago during the pandemic, you'd find that it's mostly the young people engaging with the content. If you were to get any leads from it, it would be somebody saw a property and went to tell their mom, and somehow mom reaches out to us and we possibly do a deal. But right now, the same people are reaching out to us directly. I have people, 50, 60-year-olds who will see my listing online and reach out to me directly. So right now, we're seeing big deals happening over social media, and it's all about how you capture your content, how you structure it, the intention behind it. Sometimes we do a bit of aspirational content just because, we deal in the high-end markets a lot, and some of the properties we list online are practically not affordable for most people, but we try to frame it as aspirational, that this is something that you could achieve one day, and that really aggregates and drives the video, drives the reach, and somehow, some way we end up reaching the right person. So right now, if you're not on social media, I think if you're an agent or an agency not leveraging social media, you're going to be dead, you're going to be finished soon.
Okay.
Oops. Sounds deadly.
So you've talked about aspirational content, which is very interesting. So it's more or less providing entertainment also. So it's not just, I'm seeing a house, I need to buy it next week. So they've seen a really nice 100 million shilling house, just get inspired, like one day I'll be there, and they remember that Masterways Real Estate was the one posting that, right?
It's entertainment. I mean, if you look at what's happening on Netflix, I mean, how many real estate shows are happening right now? It's big now, the reality TV, and you're going to see a lot more of it here now. You're going to see a lot of evolution into this kind of content. You'll see the property shows happening on NTV, on Citizen, whatever. You're going to see a lot more happening on social media because we are following the trends that are happening in the world. So there's a lot that's going to come on that sector.
Okay, cool. Still on the same topic, we'll go to Lizzie. So with social media being part of the main channels that BuyRentKenya uses, and you can touch on this more, and from now a growth perspective, what other channels and strategies are currently driving the most engagement for property platforms today, like BuyRentKenya?
Okay, so the way I see it, and I've been in the industry for more than 12 years now, and I see this shift for growth is not just coming from a single channel. Like, it's not just coming from my website, it's actually coming from an ecosystem of channels that are connecting. So yes, you still have traditional search, as I mentioned earlier, which is Google and SEO, and they will continue to be strong conversions because of high intent, right? And property is not something you buy every day. It's valued, right? So I see, like what my co-panelists have already said, and I'm just going to underline that a little bit further, is that generative search and social media, it's not anymore just branding tooling, right? It's becoming your discovery experience. And Robinson, like you said, there's the reality TV from Netflix and platforms like TikTok, etc. And these are performing exceptionally well because of content creation. And like you said, it's not just entertainment. It's highly visual. It's highly impactful. It's emotionally connecting, and it just makes that peer validation because it's coming from influencers, right? And the way you sell property in Kenya today as well, it's highly influential. I think it's all about brand, building your brand. We heard that yesterday. And storytelling, storytelling about the neighborhoods where you dream of living. You may be in neighborhood X, but tomorrow you probably upgrade to another neighborhood, and it's just because of how it was sold to you. I think people prefer conversational engagement, and that's why the instant messaging like WhatsApp creates that validation. It needs to be quick, easy. It needs to be, AI is basically giving you recommendation platforms, so to speak, advisors, So before I start talking to Robinson, I might do a quick search before, like just to validate what he's saying or to underline the right from wrong, so to speak. So that's the biggest strategic shift is really the conversion of AI, content creation, and structured data.
Okay, that's cool. So Feyi, talk to us about short-term rentals and the rise in short-term rentals and how you guys are using your platform to manage this type of rentals, and what technology trends are currently shaping guest expectations and operational efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. And short-term rentals, especially in Kenya and East Africa, is definitely booming. I mean, across the continent, but a ton of the properties that are being sold are being used for short-term rentals. And what's interesting about our market is that you have a mix compared to the West. You have a mix of channels where potential guests are finding you. So they're finding you on platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com, but they're also finding you increasingly on social media, Instagram, direct marketing, as well as content creators, and even referrals. And so, what our platform does on the short-term rental side is we help property managers manage their bookings from all platforms. So whether that's Airbnb, Booking.com, we have a direct integration with those platforms, Expedia, and then we also give you a direct booking site where a potential guest can actually book directly on your website or through your link in bio. And so that allows you to convert directly when, turning intent and interest into direct bookings without necessarily paying for fees online. And so that's been hugely valuable for our customers. And I think moving, someone inquiring over Instagram and your team going back and forth for several minutes into, oh wow, I can see the direct availability. I know it's correct because it's synced with Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, and I can book instantly. That's been hugely helpful for our customers. So, we have hundreds of properties that are being managed with Reeka and have given those property managers the ability to, increase their direct bookings. And I think that's been one of the more exciting things over the past few months for us.
Okay, cool. So quickly, because of time, Robinson, would you say in the future we are going to see a shift in how people are searching for property, in the sense of, Lizzie talked about conversational search. So are we going to see a situation where somebody goes to Claude, somebody goes to Perplexity, and actually have a conversation with the chatbot, and the chatbot is able to go now to BuyRentKenya, to all these property marketplaces, to fetch those listings and show these listings to that particular user, now removing the human element? Do you think that's a possibility?
I think it's a possibility. Because with Claude, with all these GPTs, it makes that search so much easier, so much faster. I just need to put a prompt and just specify I want a 3-bedroom, 180 square meters. I want it to be between Brookside Drive and Joe Madenge. I want it to be low density. You can be able to really detail it, and Claude will go and search through my website, BuyRentKenya, all the other agencies, and filter out and give you the best options for you. So we are 100% going to see that. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for people like Lizzie at BuyRentKenya to now implement their own GPT. Have your own BuyRentKenya GPT that's intelligent, that can really filter out all these details, can give all this information, can get access to all these other platforms, because you have the reach right now. You have the agencies like us who depend on you for our leads. So there's an opportunity there for BuyRentKenya, or for anybody else really, to implement a real estate GPT that is mated to the local context, and it can be scaled all the way. I mean, if you can start it in Kenya, it's something that can be replicated in Uganda, in Tanzania, and so forth. So yeah, I think in future we're going to see this.
You want to say something, Lizzie?
Myself,
Yes.
yeah. So I see the future of Proptech and portals like BRK. We're already in it. We're already doing that and working with AI product. But for me, I think the future and the fundamental change is coming from AI and how your search discovery experience is going to be. So it won't be about BRK having the most listings, but it's really what listings do I have that are intelligent and give you that personalized and trusted property search experience.
Okay. So quickly, as you also add on to that, you can give 30 seconds closing remarks, and maybe we can have maybe one question. Yeah.
So 15-second closing remarks. I think AI is here to stay. I think if I could give advice to anyone in the room, download Claude. Learn how to work with it. If you're not sure, find someone who does to help you.
Yeah. I think for me is really have the experience of working with various AI platforms just to kind of help you more operationally, efficiently, intelligently, and just personalize it. You know, I think that's the way to go.
Robinson?
Yeah, I think any tools that are going to make life easy for us as agents and make the whole process easy for the end consumer as well will be very beneficial, and it's already evolving very fast. So it's up to us as the players in this industry to catch up and to make sure that we're at the forefront of this technology. Thank you.
Cool. Any question? All right. Yes, we have one question.
Are we seeing the adoption of AI and GPTs changing the infrastructure of marketplaces or websites such as BuyRent? Because currently we really go towards the direction of Google search, for example, how we structure our website, how we make listings discoverable. Robinson said something like we need to create our own GPT, right? Like conversational, something that can help people find property. Do we see us changing marketplaces, changing how we deliver inventory into the market, how we structure our website, how we position keywords, and so on and so forth?
I think yes, because you do not want to have duplicated all listings, and AI can help structure that data. So I think yes, because people are looking for verified listings, they're looking for cleaner, quick availability as well. You know, that they're looking for all the things that you need so that it's efficient. So you're no longer a directory listings portal. You're more like, you know, part of the ecosystem decision-making support portal.
Yeah, and just to add, like how these AIs scrape content from the internet, it's important to understand that. Things like they look at websites like Reddit, content creation, Instagram, social media. So, you know, it's all connected. You really do have to make sure you're putting out content that is readable by these LLMs so that they're able to return to potential users your information, even using them, right? Like actually, if you feed data into it, you actually, it surfaces that data to others. So yeah, I think that's the only thing I would add to Lizzie's comments.
Thank you very much, Ian and panel. It was very insightful.